The Pizza Apprentice. It was another wacky Wednesday, and as with every other wacky Wednesday, it could only mean one thing. Leopold was determined to get one of those wacky Wednesday $3.99 large extra cheese with butter garlic Cajun crust pizzas. As often as he could, Leopold arrived at 4 p.m. as soon as the doors opened for business. If he got one at 4 p.m., then he would have time to empty his stomach before they closed and might be able to get another Wacky Wednesday special. This day was different though. Leopold no longer had a nighttime job, and there was a now hiring drivers sign in the new window. Leopold decided to see if he could get a job so he could get the pizza every day instead of just on Wacky Wednesdays. Leopold got to the restaurant at 3:55 p.m., about 5 minutes before the doors opened for Wacky Wednesday. As the old man who runs the shop sees Leopold, he hobbles over and opens the door saying, "Hey, how are you this Wacky Wednesday? Usual?" Leopold replies with, "You know it," as he enters the front door and stands on the customer side of the 5-foot-tall counter. "I have a question for you, though. How much would that pizza cost me if I was working for you?" The old man quickly spouted out, $2, and you can make whatever you want. That's the rules." He grabbed the dough ball and stretched the pie into a baking pan, deftly grabbed the ladle of sauce, placing it at the center of the pie. His practiced motion seemed effortless as he moved the ladle towards the outer crust of the pie as his other hand spun the pan. By the time the old man got the ladle near the outside of the crust, he reached over to grab the cheese and called out, "You got a good car, insurance, license?" And he sprinkled the cheese on the still spinning pie and grabbed the Cajun seasoning as Leopold replied, "Yes, sir, all the above." The old man grabbed the side of the pan to keep it from spinning and quickly sprinkled the Cajun seasonings around the crust before grabbing the pizza and placing it on the oven's conveyor belt. As soon as he got the pie in, he quickly ran to the back cooler and grabbed a beer. As he popped open the tab of his can of Budweiser, he grumbled and said, "Can you run out of the store, grab me another 12-pack? He brought out a $20 bill and said, "This should be enough. You can keep the change." Leopold quickly jumped on the opportunity as it only cost $9 for the 12-pack, saying, "Sure, I'll be right back." Leopold jumped in his 1986 Honda Accord with the flip-top headlights and quickly headed to the closest beer store that he knew. Oh, man. Stupid having to read it off of a different phone. Now, a proper beer store will have the beer kept right at the brink of becoming slushy. And there happened to be one only 6 blocks away from the Wacky Wednesday pizza restaurant. Leopold returned with the proper beer store beer, Budweiser 12-pack, and gave it to the old man, saying, "Here you go, Ed. That's your name, right? Man, I suck at names." Ed put the 12-pack on his personal beer cooler in the back and took one out, cracked it, saying, "You got it right, Ed Germain. I'm bad with names too. What's yours again?" He began to guzzle beer as I answered, "Ha! At least I'm not the only one. It's Leopold." Ed was already cracking open a second beer, saying, "Come in tomorrow at 4 p.m. Come in tomorrow at 4 p.m. And always get the beer from wherever you just got it." Leopold went the next day, and every day he was scheduled after that day. He always got there on time and was one of the fastest delivery drivers. Every few hours, Ed would slip $10 to $20 on top of one of the delivery bags to signify he wanted another 12-pack. Leopold had been noticing that at a certain time of the night, Ed would get belligerent, and a couple times he even passed out before finishing his closing duties. Leopold really liked Ed, and didn't want to be an enabler to Ed's overindulgence to the point he could not perform his duties. So one night, Leopold came back from his delivery, and it was near closing time. Ed sees him come in and stumbles towards him, waving a $20 bill, saying, "Another case of beer." Leopold knows that Ed is about to pass out and says, "I already got you 4 tonight. It's closing time now. Another 12-pack won't do you any good." Ed leaned on the counter, wobbling, his neck and face becoming noticeably redder as his eyes started bulging out of his head, and he yelled, "You're fired! Get out here!" Leopold muttered under his breath, "Yeah, whatever, crazy, drunk old man, just trying to help," as he finished cashing out and went home. The next day, Leopold was scheduled to work. About 30 minutes after he would have been there, if he hadn't been fired the day before. Leopold was in his room, blasting some Korn on his stereo, when he heard the faintness of his phone ring between songs. Leopold picks up the phone and says, "Yellow, purple, green, and blue, you know who you're talking to." And the person on the other side of the line says, "That Leopold?" Leopold recognizes Ed's voice and says, "Yeah, what's up?" Ed says, "Where you at? How come you didn't show up today?" Leopold chuckles in amusement as he realizes that Ed didn't remember firing him, and says, "You fired me last night." Ed, sounding flustered, says, "Oh, get in here! There's deliveries up!" In about 8 years of employment, Leopold was fired over 100 times, and the conversation the following day was always the same. So like the show The Apprentice, Leopold's job there is remembered mostly for 2 words alone. "You're fired!"